Vantage Point with True North Wealth Partners is for our clients and those wanting to learn more about what's really going on within the markets and economy, as well as overall financial planning topics.
Hey everybody, welcome Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. Vantage Point with True North Wealth Partners. I'm Andy.
Eric Susie. Good to see y'all. Welcome back to another episode. What a month it's been.
Yeah, good times, right?
Yeah, good times. Jeez. Well, everybody doing all right?
Yeah,
Family
yeah.
good?
Yeah, school starts back up Thursday and birthdays and family stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
That's cool.
Little anniversary and
good.
Fun. Yeah. How about you?
Good. Summer's winding down. So yeah, it's girls are getting ready for their sports and soccer and volleyball. So they're all excited. But, school's starting.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Back to some normal, right? Hopefully.
Yep. Yeah. I tell you, it's summer flu. I don't know where it went, but it is what it is, I guess. Well, good. Well, just to recap or start out with today, at the end of today's episode, we'll have a special guest. So Cindy, she'll be joining us. So be sure you stay tuned to that. But let's jump right into the COVID tracker. So you can see there, folks, on the spike up. The United States went up. And the other countries as well, Brazil and India. Then we came back down in June, and then of late, with the variant that we've had, it spiked back up. So now we're at a high variance that you can see. But what more do you add on that one?
Yeah, just with the Delta variant. The increase in cases, which seems to be affecting the younger crowd a little bit more, I guess. But so a lot of the counties in Ohio, even in red, and so it start the back to school season, and but the impact that it's had on the recovery, right? Still, seeing a decrease slightly in the unemployment number. Still not quite pre-COVID,
right,
which is probably going to take another year at least for that to happen. But the continuing claims, somewhat flatlining, I guess, which is the big one, right? So that's the people who are ongoing unemployment as opposed to the one time. And then, retail, crazy, just like, we went to, I took my kids to Kings Island and the park closed at 8:00. Yeah. And we're thinking, we're not buying food here. We're going to go out to Wendy's there outside. And then 8:00 it was closed. That's like
no help. Yeah. Same thing. Just like Bob's. Short in duration.
That's right. Crazy.
Not good. Well, we'll truck through it all.
Yeah. Keep trucking along, right?
Yep. I guess before we get into all the charts and a couple updates on just the pure facts, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. So, hey, folks, with Afghanistan and what's going on there, so we have to at least touch base on that because it does affect us and the world for not years, but decades to come, unfortunately. So, I guess the real ramification, what does this really mean is this. The vacuum. So the vacuum's there. The Taliban is going to take control, which they have, and then it leads to more terrorism. So that will be I believe, the hotbed, Isis and all that, the hotbed of that area. You have China knocking on the door. You have Russia. You have Israel, Iran, Pakistan. We feel sorry for Israel because they're going to be left out. But you can add more color to that in commentary.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, just the overall craziness of everything going on. But the big player in that is China. Oh yeah, for sure. So just with their influence and their they'll be able to step in and feed the Taliban and kind of almost view them as allies. And so there have been some movements with of course China. They're engaged in the largest military buildup in peacetime history ever. Yep. And America, so they got Taiwan in their sights, right? They've got
talked about that before.
Yep. And then they're President Xi is basically setting himself up to where he can't be contested. Just a week or 2 weeks ago, there was a crackdown on after school businesses and a lot of these private businesses that they're trying to flex their muscle within the Communist Party and make everybody kind of kowtow to them or get out. So he's trying to squelch his potential opponents in any type of election that that they would have. And last year, Trump, they put a lockdown on some of the investment assets. Right. So like if someone owns a TSP plan or a government pension,
thrift savings plan, government pension,
there's a lot of money invested in
China. Tied into it, right?
And so last year, Trump instructed I think it was Larry Kudlow at the time to say, hey, look, stop, this is crazy. We're funding
them.
Yeah, we're funding our
enemies.
Why
are we funding that?
And so there was a lockdown on as far as money going into China as well. So yeah. So but a lot going on definitely internationally.
Yes.
And as far as how it impacts someone's portfolio,
trickles down. So we've reduced our exposure to China. So we've been doing that. You've seen some sell-offs and things of that nature. So we're adapting to these ever-going changes that are occurring.
The political risk is always real, right?
Oh,
when
it
comes
always.
to investing. It's a little more exciting, right, than talking about interest rates and inflation and things like that. It's a little bit more newsworthy, I guess, but
unfortunately, it's here to stay and be with us for many more years and decades.
But things that we watch and keep an eye on.
That's part of the 50 things we call the wall of worry. So
that's right.
We track it all for you, so you don't have to. But so that's keeping it real. And just like I said, folks, you've heard us say, we'll say it one more time, the Great Reset. So just be aware of the Great Reset versus the American way. So there's a choice everyone has to make. And this is all part of the master plan that they're trying to accomplish. So just be aware of that, vote wisely, and all this that's coming up, because it's important to the fabric of the country. Whether you're independent, Democrat, or Republican, just open up your eyes. Let's get into some market volatility. So the VIX, it's funny, reduced down. 2 days ago, it was like at 15. So it's 15 on Friday. And then it's spiked up today. It's a little over 17 and a half right now. You can see here with the average being 18.1. So that's just giving you some latest on the VIX volatility. So expect the volatility to continue to pick up the back half of the year. That's why we're repositioning things. We rebalanced and continuing to do so for the back half of the year. Market pullbacks, you can see here as well. We still have not yet had a technical 5% pullback. Got close, 4.9 end of February, March. But so we're still well overdue. That happens at least 4.5 times a year. You have a 5% pullback. So for us technically to have it, not have it yet, well, again, it can happen at any point in time.
Yeah. So needs to exhale, right?
Yes.
Yeah, big time. A lot of cash waiting.
Oh yeah. We talked about, you mentioned the rates, the 10-year, 2-year, so the spread and what have you. So obviously the 10-year spiked back. It was at 1.75, coming off a low of 0.51 at the end of last year. So it's now about 1.26-ish in that range. So again, the 10-year, we still, from our research partners, Hedgeye, Argus, Hero, whomever, they're all saying 1.6 to 1.75 range by the end of the year. So we do anticipate the 10-year to widen up, to go back out as far as the interest rates and the yield on that. So,
where should people want to see the yield on a 10-year? Like where, is there like a safe spot or?
Greater than where it's at, because that's not sustainable. No, as far as the average, though, the average on the 10-year going back to 2.3%. Okay. So that's been the average is 2.3% on the 10-year. So if that gives any barometer where we're at, so we're at 1.26, and the average has been 2.3. So that gives you a little understanding.
That helps,
So it needs to be higher than where it's at.
Sure.
So, but how we get there, you want to be, I'll leave it this way. You want to be, signal to a certain degree. Let's talk about the Fed. The tapering. So the bond buying of $120 billion that's been going on every month, mortgage-backed and treasuries combined for $120 billion. That needs to taper or soften. And the understanding is the tapering, over 6 to 8 months. They may announce that here in the upcoming August meeting that they're going to have, Jackson Hole, what have you. But the point is they need to get that going, start the tapering by the end of this year, more likely. Then they'll start raising rates, which we believe will occur next year at some point in time. So those are all parts of the piece of the pie there.
Yeah, good. So when you say taper, that just stop buying.
Reduce the buying from 1 trillion, 120 billion a month, and maybe 100 billion a month, and maybe 90, then maybe 75.
Just ease off.
Yep. Ease off the accelerator because we're past the worst of things, but government stimulus, that's what's propping up these stock markets artificially. So that's why there's caution to the wind here. as far as the back half of the year and certainly into next year as well. The Fed tapering, we talked about the dot plots, as you can see. It's all part of it. And so, yes, the Fed member meetings, they get together on a quarterly basis. They plot out what they think they're going to be doing. So this was totally flat until 2024, but you can see a lot of the Fed members are now, hey, we need to start raising rates. So that's something we're going to continue to monitor and keep an eye on all that. In addition, as you can see, the job openings, the JOLT report, amazing. So last month when the read came out, it came out 10.1 million job openings. So that's the highest ever on record, ever tracked. The average historically is 4.7 million. So 4.7 historically has been the average for job openings. We're more than double that. We're at 10.1. That's the problem with people staying home, government subsidies, not wanting to get back to work because there's no incentive to get back to work.
Sure.
That's the problem. And then, among other things. So,
yeah. On a side note of that, though, there was an article, and it was either in Barron's or Wall Street Journal. I can't remember. There's these two IT guys. They started a company called Overemployed.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So what they do, well, because a lot of these IT guys are working from home.
Yeah.
And so, they're not in the office. They don't have a boss looking over their shoulder. So they're working two jobs. Yeah. Like they go out, they have their, hey, I can go in between meetings and Zoom meetings. No one's going to know about it. And I don't think there's anything illegal about doing that. And so they're thinking, hey, this is a way to boost your income.
Right.
It's like, hey, I might as well.
Yeah.
And, but anyhow, that kind of got me thinking
and
about.
And we know a guy who's doing that too. Right on the side.
That's right. Yeah.
Name will not be disclosed, but Yeah,
but it was a pretty interesting story. But yeah.
I hear you. Yeah. And, as far as like consumer price index, we'll end what we're showing this chart here, the core. So the CPI is made up of numerous, 8 or so factors that go into it, i.e. food and beverage, housing, apparel, transportation, medical care, recreation, education, communication, and other goods and services. So those are some of the components of CPI. With that, though, you have core. Okay, core excludes food and energy. As you can see, excluding food and energy, core CPI came out the latest read here in July. It was 4.3%. So, okay, now it's elevated for certain transitory things. That's what Powell likes to say, elevates it. But even when it does come back down, this is probably the peak, is what we're thinking here. We'll see the peak last month, this month, and then it will curl back over. But, 4.3 is the highest since 1991, looking back for the core CPI, when the average has been about 1.8% for the last 10 years. We're at 4.3. So it's not transitory for everything. It's going to be sticky, and you're going to see high prints for the foreseeable future, well into 2022. So, we have to beat taxes, inflation, about portfolio construction. We've done that, and continuing to reduce risk, get out of certain asset classes or thematic sectors like we've done. We use funds like, T. Rowe has been a great fund firm that we've used over the years, but one of their funds that we use is obviously they take about 98% of the risk of the S&P, but generate that return, vice versa. 98% of the return of the S&P, but only take about 69% of the risk of that index. So that's what we're all about here is risk-adjusted return. So we want to give you decent return for reduced risk of the overall stock market. So how we allocate and build out the models and how we're balanced, that's what we're doing and continuing to do.
Sure.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and I think that's been beneficial too, because we have like in the planning, it's like, we've always historically kind of overplanned for inflation, regular inflation, but even like healthcare expenses. I know we're, if you look at some of our plans, it's like, I mean, it's almost kind of mind numbing as far as how much would spend, come out of the plan. But
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're just kind of seeing some of the stuff become get to where it should be, I guess, as it all plays out.
So with that, we'll be teeing it up for Cindy Paige. So,
all right, bring her in.
Hopefully you guys will enjoy her, and she has a lot to offer for our clients. We've used her for our clients, and she's helped out tremendously.
This month's strategic partner, Cindy Paige, with Oasis Senior Advisors, is not affiliated with True North Wealth Partners or Stratus Wealth Advisors.
Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in for today's special guest, Cindy Paige. She is with Oasis Senior Advisors, And we have used her tremendously over the years. And thank you very much, Cindy, for your
You're
expertise
welcome.
and help.
Absolutely.
I'll just sort of open it up to you and maybe just share with us a little bit about, your background, your your pedigree, where you came from, and
Okay.
what you've done in this industry and space, and maybe educate us a little bit about Oasis, the formation, the company structure, and educate us on that, please.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah. Oasis Senior Advisors is a franchise opportunity. So we have a franchise here in Central Ohio, which just expanded into the Cleveland area. I'm
Nice.
excited to say.
Yeah, that's great.
And it is a group of senior advisors. So what we actually do is we offer a free service for seniors and their families to help them to know what the resources are for care needs when they have an older adult in their life that maybe is faced with some challenges, maybe needs some care needs, and needs to look at options for whether for senior living, so independent living, assisted living, memory care, even long-term care. So we can help educate and give them information so that they know what their choices are. And even if they want to stay in their home and it's not quite time to make that move, then we help to connect them to the resources that they need to be safe and
Yes.
secure in their own home environment.
Age in place.
Age in place. That's right. That's right.
Good. No, and then share with us your background as a CSA, a certified senior advisor. Can you educate?
I can. I've been in this industry for almost 20 years now,
Nice.
and it was really a personal journey. I have a marketing background. I was actually in bank marketing
Wow.
for
Okay.
a long time, and I had a lot of family members that needed care. And so as I learned and took a few hits along the way, ran into a few obstacles, and learned how to navigate that, I just decided that this is where I wanted to
Your calling.
work.
Right.
It's absolutely my calling where I wanted to serve other people. So for a long time, I worked in communities. I have a marketing background, so that's what I was qualified to do, is to sell assisted living or even a memory care. And so through that journey, I met John Holcomb, and he is the Oasis franchise owner here in Central Ohio.
Very good.
And I just liked how he was doing business, the heart that he had to serve people, whether they had the resources to pay to be in the community or maybe they needed Medicaid. And there's a big gap in trying to help navigate people to find those kinds of communities or resources. And we try to bridge that gap and help everyone we can.
No, and then as a certified senior advisor, I actually had that designation, but I didn't keep up with my continuing education, so I had to drop mine. But it's a great profession, and like you said, calling and service to provide. So me being well-rounded, I always like to educate myself as best I can and pass the baton to the specialists who can execute. So Cindy's engrossed with the day-to-day. So in Greater Columbus, there's over 120 or so different facilities.
Right.
And you know which ones are, they all ebb and flow. They all have their seasonalities. And maybe you can talk about the industry right now as far as like independent living all the way through full-blown nursing home or long-term care and what's in between and what are you seeing today?
Yeah, you know what, you're right. There's over 120 different assisted living and memory care. So that's not really even counting long-term care, which is when we think of the nursing home, that's really the long-term care community. So when I think of how to explain best for somebody who's really not had a lot of experience lately, because the industry has changed tremendously, even in the last 5 years. Columbus has added probably 25 different assisted living memory cares that are new buildings to the market just in the last 5 years. But independent living is where someone is truly independent. They come and go. Maybe they're cooking their own meals, but they may be part of community life. And then long-term care is the traditional nursing home when we think of nursing home care. So that's what long-term care is. Then we enter in with assisted living and memory care, and people say, well, what is that? And I say, well, it's everything in between. And so it is very challenging to kind of figure out because each community offers something a little bit differently. So not only is their product a little bit different, but their pricing is different as well. So it's really imperative in today's market to have someone who kind of knows the ins and outs of these different communities, their pricing structure, the care they can offer, and then how to set you up for success with, the financial piece of it, and how are people going to pay for the care that they need.
No, totally agree. And, part of it is just being aware of what you are. But on a personal note, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, she's helped my family, my 2 aunts. So thank you for all that and placing them where they're
pleasure.
at. And in addition, just clients. I've had clients reach out to you. Just one recently yesterday. So you're helping him and his wife in Marysville. So getting them situated to a facility out there. So again,
right.
Yeah, you're godsend. So thank you for what you do. And
thank you.
It's great work. And then, as far as getting out there, getting the word and what you can do, I know you're reaching out like 55 plus club members and our church in particular. And so just keep on getting that word out there. And we're an advocate for you because you help our clients and then also the community in general, which that's what it's about.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you so much because you know what? People don't know what they don't know. And so most people and families find themselves in a crisis situation,
That's maybe, my mom. She was like, oh, what do I do?
What do I do? And then you don't know where to turn. Right. And there's no good one-stop shop to get all your answers. Yep. And so that's what we really strive to be is, one call, many solutions. We hope to be able to answer your questions. At least if we don't know the answer, we'll know where to find it, or we'll get you pointed in the right direction, because no one sits around and thinks about, well, when I need to go to a home, what will it look like? Yep. Well, you know what? We can help with that. And so it's just getting the word out there that we offer this service and that there's people out there that make it their mission to be educated about it and can help you.
No, I appreciate that. And then let's talk about the elephant in the room. It's like, oh, Eric, it's going to cost me a fortune. No, it's not. So you don't have to get into all the particulars. But the point is, folks, think of it like a headhunter. So as they place the person into the appropriate care or need, they will get a refund back from the percentage of.
Absolutely. You're right. So so there is no cost to seniors and their families. There's no cost to them at all. So we are a free service. If we do recommend someone to a place that is private pay, so it's not a Medicaid community, and that community that we're contracted with, they pay us a referral fee. So there's no, it's like a broker almost. So we're really just there to connect you to the right fit. And of course, it's a free service, so you can't go wrong.
Oh, amen to that. So folks, please reach out if you're struggling, the sandwich generation, you got your parents, kids, a lot going on. Cindy and her crew can definitely assist and reach out to them. Please reach out to us here at True North, obviously, all the advisors, Andy, Russ, Christina, we can all assist. But in addition, you can reach out directly to Cindy Paige too. So
absolutely
appreciate all you've done for us personally, of our clients, me and our family, and keep the faith, keep up the good work. And
thank you.
We'll see you around. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Let's end here with tips of the month. So what do we have? Let's talk about housing. So what's the latest in housing?
Yep. Yeah. So guess what? The average house sale, the average sale price for a house is in the United States right now.
Gone up dramatically. I'll probably say around 300-ish somewhere.
Yep, $357,900. $357,900. Average price in the United States right now. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. And then as far as the home sales, speaking of that, so Columbus, we're the fastest, leads the nation in the fastest home sales. So, it's 17 days for Columbus.
Is that right?
17 days. Now, you and I both know folks in our neighborhoods, a day or two. So houses are getting snapped up in just a day or two. So 17, that's the lowest in a long time. And we lead the nation. Columbus leads the nation, the fastest home sales. So, it's crazy what's going on. So I have to be careful with the entering into a buying agreement, because there will be some ebbs and flows to the overall market. Just like everything else, everything has its cycles. All right, folks. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed that little information on the senior living and what Cindy can provide to you, because it can be a stressful time. Yep. So reach out to her, please. Reach out to us. We can obviously assist you, navigate, and provide information for you as well.
Absolutely.
With that said, I guess summer wrapping up here fast. We'll be back next month in September. Share with you more information, as there's a lot going on, and we'll do our best for you. So stay well.
Stay safe.
All right. Take care, everybody.
You can reach this episode on our website at mytruenorthwp.com. by other podcast venue sites, or by calling us at 614-929-2715. Also, feel free to share this episode with friends and family and sign up for our weekly email market updates via our website. Special thanks to our producer Nathan, as we will be producing these episodes on a monthly basis. Investment advice offered through Stratus Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor, DBA True North Wealth Partners. Investing involves substantial risk. True North Wealth Partners and Stratus Wealth do not make any guarantee or other promise as to any results that may be obtained from this. The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. The economic forecasts set forth in this material may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. No reader should make any investment decision without first consulting his or her own personal financial advisor and conducting his or her own research and due diligence.